We be drifting, baby. We're out here on a little grass flat, drifting. Don't even know what we have yet. I'm guessing it's a trout.
Solid trout.
It's a nice trout. Oh, lost it at the boat.
Solid trout. The one that got away.
Trout. Slam Shady. So we had a lot of questions about just drifting a flat.
Yep.
Assuming we have no trolling motor, which we do, but we're not using it. No power pole. Just two guys with a dream to catch fish and a little bit of wind in a skiff. What do you do?
And some current. So,
dude, what was that?
I don't know what that was.
Skipjack or something? That was like ferocious.
Yeah, it was moving fast, whatever it was. So, what we're doing is really just drifting. And drifting, there are some strategies for drifting.
Ooh, this is a nice trout. Hit right at the boat. Check out that bad boy.
It's a nice one.
Just drifting. No big deal.
So there are some strategies, and
probably 18, 19 incher there.
Here's the net here, Joe.
Getting a spray down here. You trying to grab the net?
Yeah, I got too much junk down there.
Oh my goodness. All right, he's getting the microphone wet.
Control your fish.
Oh, I thought Luke, you're gonna be a good brother and help me out there.
Never.
Check out that bad boy. All sitting here, just trolling. You can see the Slam Shady coming out of his mouth. Yeah, that's a solid trout. All right, not worth falling in over, Cody. And that thing got everything soaking wet.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're drifting this flat, and where the trout have been, they haven't been right on the edge. We're at a high tide, at low tide they're usually right on the edge, and right now they seem to be maybe like 50 to 100 yards off the channel edge, off the deep side. And so what we're doing is we're just using the wind and the current and the motor, right? The motor is we're using as a tiller, and we're using that to control our angle. So when Joe was reeling that trout in, I went and changed the motor because we're getting a little bit too close to the edge. The edge is right where those signs are. I don't want to be over the edge, and that way now the motor is now the boat is starting to turn over and just keep us right in the zone. And obviously, if I wanted to go to the channel, I would just turn the wheel that way, and the motor would kick the boat over. So use the motor as a tiller. A lot of people will turn the boat on, right? Like get the boat on, and then you're scaring the fish, right? That big motor is very loud. The most stealthy way you could possibly approach a spot is to let the wind take you there. And so for those who don't have trolling motors, that's obviously trolling motors do help if you're doing like dock fishing, like something where you're doing some technical fishing. But if you're out here on these open flats, you actually have an advantage as long as you know how to position yourself. So now I want to kick us over here toward this direction. So I'm turning the wheel that direction. That's kicking the motor over, and that motor is now going to make the boat turn, and now it's going to shoot us. It's going to shoot us off to the left. So very, very important. A lot of people totally overlook their ability to steer the boat without the motor on. And it makes a really big difference. As you can see, just that one little turn, we're now going in a better direction. There's some potholes up ahead, so we should get some trout up here.
So talk about the depth. See that's a nice fish. Dude, these big trout out here, dude.
Yeah.
Dang, just sitting on this flat. Whoa, what was that?
That trout was spooking up those bait fish.
It's not as big as the last one.
Yeah, the last one was definitely bigger.
Whew.
Yeah, so it's all about
hailing Slam Shady.
Yeah, that's a smaller one too. So I have the bigger one on mine to go down to a smaller lure, smaller profile. Oh, there we go. Oh, I just had one. Oh.
Right,
I went right in the pothole,
like
right?
One did.
Right where it's
little
supposed
trout
to be.
there, Cody. Get this hook out of here quickly and release this guy. Without having to dig my fingers in. Whoa, buddy.
So as far as the depth we're targeting, it's about 3 to 5 feet basically has been the range. Any shallower, it seems to be dying off, and then any deeper, it seems to be dying off. So that's just been the range today. Every day's different, so it's smart to try a little bit of everything. But we're just holding in that zone, and just covering ground. And that wind is a significant advantage.
You missed it, so I released him, trying not to hold him at all, and Slam Shady was still kind of dangling. And as he fell off, I mean, he's only an inch from the water. As his head was going down, the tooth actually caught on the tail of the Slam Shady and wouldn't rip off. The Z-Mans, oh, so tough. You guys are wondering, hey, how do I get my hands on Z-Man Slam Shady? Well, the 5 inch is in stock as we're recording this.
Yep, and it's going to get better and better.
And this is the 4 inch and the 3 inch. They're coming soon. Let's just say that. It has been a brutal long waiting game to get the Z-Man Slam Shadies. We got the 2.0s. We got the Bombers now. Slam Shady Bombers, which is pretty epic. Launched those things, and probably one of the best skipping Slam Shady paddle tails. Would you agree?
Yeah, those are my favorite for covering the mangroves. So what we have now is we're now off the flat. You know, the flat basically ended, the grass portion, and where we need to go is too far forward to use the tiller. You know, the motor's a tiller. So I'm going to turn the big motor on. We're going to bump up about 100 yards, and then there's another little grass section up there. So sometimes you do have to fire up the big motor.
So this is real life what happens. Not fishing TV show where they only show you the best stuff out of 3 days in a 21-minute episode. This is real life.
We're just out here fishing. And so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for potholes. Most of the trout hold in the pothole, so I'm seeing a good pothole right up that way. So obviously I don't want to motor right to it, right? I want to motor upwind from it. That way we can drift back to it very quietly and pick off some fish that are likely to be in there. So we're going over some shallow stuff, so always make sure we're not, it's still plenty deep for the motor. And so there's one pothole, 2 potholes, another couple further over that way. So I'm going to try to get a drift so that we go kind of right through almost the middle where we can reach all of them, or at least as many as possible.
There's also a really good time when you're drifting and having to move is to re-rig if you need to. If you've had a couple strikes like I have, that one, I mean, he inhaled it, which is what took me so long to release him. And even though it's not a snook, and even though I got 30-pound, I think this is mono. I don't even know, it's mono or fluoro. I think it's the Berkeley, just the big game. So they make both though, don't they, Luke? Big game, fluoro and?
No, Berkeley vanishes their fluoro.
Okay, so yeah, it's just good old-fashioned mono. But it will get chafed up there. So now my Slam Shady on my 1/4 ounce jig head is looking solid. And this is that trout eyes. I like both. You know, there's the redfish, which is a little bit longer.
I don't like the redfish shank.
Well, no one asked you. I'm the one talking right now. Yeah, Luke seems to like the trout, and I'm using the trout one right now. It's easier to rig.
The easy rig with the trout one. Right?
Yeah, trout one's easier to rig.
The difference is the redfish eye has a bigger hook, and for soft plastics, it's all about rigging. The more material you have to rig through, the more of a chance that it's not going to be rigged exactly perfectly. So for that reason, I like the shorter shank hooks. And I haven't found, looks like we need to do a little turn. Just from doing some, I've been filming these jig heads underwater in good trout zones, and I've had a lot of trout hit on camera, and not a single one has hit toward the tail. So I'm very confident that switching to a shorter shank hook is not going to hurt your ability to catch trout.
Trout in particular. There might be some fish. We
Yeah,
haven't tried it with flounder or redfish.
You'll have a harder chance of catching puffers. That's, if you want to go after those.
Oh, really, Mr. Lizardfish?
It's the puffer.
Who's caught the lizard and the catfish today?
It's the puffers and pinfish that
Luke has.
that bite the tails, the tail biters.
Yeah,
So
that is
trout
cool.
do not hit the tail.
And same with all this underwater stuff that you've done and we've done with Peter Deeks. It's so cool to see what really happens under the water. Even like that one you did with the shrimp underneath your dock.
Yep.
A lot of people think, oh, they're just bait thieves, meaning they think it's the mangrove snapper and the sheep's head are just that tricky. And the sheep's head and mangrove snapper didn't even have a chance to get to it. It was all little pinfish. It was all the little, those are the real bait thieves. It's pretty cool to actually see it on camera.
Yep. Yeah, we always knew that it happened, but it's just how aggressive those things are. It is insane. Like as soon as the bait got on the bottom, even before, right? Even before in some cases, as it's dropping, those pinfish were all over it. And if it wasn't a good bait, I mean, that bait is off in like 20 seconds. So basically, if you don't drop directly on a good fish, it's going to be pinfish food.
There's a lot of birds back over that way. You can probably hear them in the background.
Yeah, that's out in the channel. That's probably a bunch of mackerel, or a bunch of probably some ladyfish and mackerel.
But I bring that up for a reason. When you're doing something like this, just start looking around. Because if this goes on for 10 minutes and we don't cut a couple nice ones real quick, we head back over there if the goal is just to catch a bunch of fish. And I don't know, Cody, if you can look back there, but man, I mean, it's bird central. You guys see that? The birds aren't there because they're having a picnic, or I guess they are. It's because there's a ton of bait. They ain't just hanging around swirling, especially once you see them start diving. You know that it is go time. And that usually does mean mackerel, jacks, trout, ladyfish.
But out there, you want to see those birds up on the flat, like up on the edge of the flat. That's out in the channel. So that's probably just all the roamer stuff. When they get up, the reason why you get up on a flat and those birds are there, that means there's bait fish there. That means the predators are undoubtedly going to be there as well. And when they're up on the flat, now you have the ambush predators there too. You have the trout. If it's near shoreline, you'll have the snook and the reds. Plus you can have the roamers too. You have everything. It just adds a lot more to the mix. So when I'm doing these drifts, I almost always will stick like on some sort of structure. Right now we have grass. Fishing up in like Northeast Florida, look for a lot of areas with a lot of oysters, and it's the same exact premise.
This bird is
cover ground.
eyeing my slant. Ooh, a nice hit.
Yeah, I just switched to a smaller tail.
You go 3 or 4?
I'm going the 2.0, the 3.5 inches.
Ooh. That might be the secret weapon. That's what I started with.
Yeah, we just have a little bit left, so we're about to be out of the grass flat. But as that's part of drifting. Right now we have, ooh, I just missed a good hit.
I just had a hit too.
We have
there we go. Oh, that was a solid one. There's definitely some nice fish over there.
Yeah, we have probably a 10, maybe 10, 12 mile an hour wind.
There we go. Oh my gosh.
And so it's moving us at a nice pace.
Oh, no wonder.
Bait got a little messed up.
Jacked up my bait. Yeah, something drilled it.
And it's just a great way to prospect an area. I get a nice windy day, and you can cover a ton of ground very quietly. And then when we do move, right, we'll just pick a different line. Or if it's really good, right, if we have one line that's awesome, just drift it again, and you'll catch a lot more fish. There's usually going to be a lot of fish around. Because the bad thing about going this fast is we are going to miss a bunch of fish too.
Yeah. We are
but more so in the wintertime when they're really in pocket, like winter and spring, there are pockets of them. Oh, I thought that was the fish, but that's the bottom. Now in the summertime,
channel marker,
a lot of times they're a little bit more scattered around, which is why drifting is that much more effective. You can basically guarantee you're going to get in some fish catching if you're doing some good drifts.
And especially for all of you in Freedom Boat Club, I know that's one of the things that we hear is a downside, is that most of the boats do not have trolling motors and or power poles. You don't have to have it.
They definitely help, but situations like this, you can really, this has been a slow drift here, but you can really get a bunch of fish doing this.
So what in terms of depth? Are you on the bottom or you got a hit there?
I mentioned that before. I mean, 3 to 5 feet is now, right? But it changes. So that's part of what we share on our every Friday, our weekly game plans to Insider members, is share exactly what depths to look for and what tide cycles, just to make sure that just maximize the odds of that we call the 10% zone, right? That zone where at any given point in time, 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water, and so we report on a weekly basis exactly where that is. There we are. Oh, geez.
Oh, Luke had a pinfish.
Yeah, we'll pretend that didn't happen. It might have been a pinfish.
You guys are listening and not watching. Drifting on a little grass flat, and Luke just caught a 3-inch pinfish on a 3.5-inch slam shad.
Well, in reality, that's actually tougher to catch a pinfish than a trout.
Yeah, you should be rewarded.
Not mad. I'm actually impressed. That's a big stingray right there. Yeah, you never know what you're going to see. And obviously, when you see these big stingrays, that was one that had a wingspan of probably 4 feet. It was a southern ray, so it was even though it was on the bottom. A lot of times fish trail those. So cobia obviously are well known for trailing them, but I've caught some really nice redfish and sea trout, and even snooks up in the flat. Snook will trail them, because what those fish do is they use those stingrays as a free ride, and those stingrays are down the bottom scaring all sorts of stuff up, and those fish just sit there and just ambush all that bait that gets spooked up from that ray. So we might have to end it. We're off the flat, and so just given this, that first zone was by far the best, and that was on the up current and upwind side of this big flat. So that's something to be noted. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around, go upwind, go further up, and then target. And now we know that our best odds are most likely to be on the top side, not the bottom side. That was evident. We stayed in the same depth of water. We were the same distance from the channel. All those fish were on the upcurrent side.
Yep.
So that was at least the trend we've seen so far. We're gonna go do it another time or two and make sure that's locked in, and that'll really be it. That'll be like gonna be the 10% zone on this big flat.
90-10, baby.
Yep.
You guys haven't seen that webinar, search for it. 90-10, finding the 90-10 zone on either YouTube or Salt Strong. Super, super helpful. It's about putting yourself in the small area where 90% of the feeding fish are. It wasn't just Frank Sargent. So many pros and experts have said that you're going to find 90% of the feeding fish in just 10% of any area. So go check that one out. And hopefully this was helpful. I know it's come up a lot. We wanted to do just a short and sweet one, just because we had a great day for just some wind, and it wasn't great conditions, and prove you can catch a couple quick trout and a dinky pinfish.
Yeah, I just need
in 10-15 minutes, just real quick.
Just get some paddle tails on a jig head and take it over a flat, like either a grass flat or oyster area, and you can catch a little bit of everything. That's really why we recommend these so highly.
Yep.
Because they just flat work and they're easy to use.
Yep.
Like we took Joe's daughter out, Shauna, when she was like 6 or 7. She was catching her own trout.
Yeah.
It doesn't take any sort of crazy fancy retrieve. Obviously, there's some tips and tactics that help, but just having it on there, cast and retrieve, you're gonna catch some fish.
Cast and retrieve, find the fish, find the bait. All right, that's it, guys. Hope that helps. Inside our members, as you know, we got 20% off everything in the store, including reels, rods, line, lure, terminal tackle, etc. And anyone can go by there. Our shop is open to the public, but of course, insiders get 20% off. So just one more reason to join us in the Insider Club, where we help you catch more fish and save money while you be doing it. Maximize your time, maximize your money. It sounds pretty good.
So simple.
I want to join. I'm already a member. All right, guys, thank you so much for all the support, all the love. We will see you soon. Go to saltstrong.com to learn more about everything. Peace. We out.
There's something about the water that'll give you peace, all by yourself or with your family. Live salt strong and where the lines